What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chat of All Trades. We're going to be talking about something that released a couple weeks ago now that I purposely haven't made a video on. The hype's died down a little bit. It's time to dive into those TURMOIL Kneepads. Let's get right into it. Alright, so let's take a look at the TURMOIL Kneepads real quick. These got released. Everyone got them in their grants, in their stash a couple weeks ago on April 1st. There's a lot to talk about here, and I purposely didn't want to make a video right away because I wanted to see what some of the other creators were going to do, how the community was going to kind of find their stance with this piece before I started doing some testing myself and potentially making a build with it. Let's talk about what it does and what it's useful for. Okay, these are knee pads with a talent. Okay, this talent essentially splits your damage. You're doing half damage to one target, and it's randomly distributing that other half of your damage to some enemy within 30 meters, if there is one. Okay, that's a little caveat here. It does not apply to armor plates, and if there's no enemies nearby, you deal damage normally. So you're going to look at this, and on the surface, it's going to seem net neutral. Actually, so I don't know why people were so hyped about this right away. I think there was a lot of confusion around it distributing 50% of your damage to all enemies within 30 meters. That's not what it's doing. It's to an enemy within 30 meters. So you're doing half damage to your target, and then you're dealing that half to another random transfer target. So it got a lot of hype, and I don't know why, because well, yeah, it's net neutral. You're losing half your damage, and you're getting half of it back somewhere else. It's, your health pool of the enemies is remaining the same. You're depleting it at the same rate, essentially. We're gonna get into that, but yeah, on the surface, it seems net neutral. So I don't know why it's that exciting, right? What I think is more important is the fact that they're releasing knee pads with a talent that is essentially a functional talent. We've had some the knee pads like the snow machine ones that have like a aesthetic talent on them, but this one's like a functional talent, and I think that's way more important than the knee pads themselves. Okay, this is the devs telling to us, hey, we're trying out something new, something old really, back in the game of Division 2 in the early part of its life cycle before they did the whole Systems 2.0, whatever they called it. We had talents on other pieces. Now, I wasn't even playing at that time, but I do know that there were talents on other pieces like gloves and knee pads and stuff, and it made the builds way more complex. And they simplified it down to chest backpack, which is what we've been playing with now for a while. The fact that they're releasing something that's not chest, not backpack, is not an exotic, because the only thing we've seen in this game right now that has a talent that's not, in that talent slot of chest or bag is an exotic. And this one's not an exotic. I bet you it's kind of treated that way in the back end, but it's a named piece that has a talent that is functional on them outside of those, and that I think is way more important, like as a sign for us of what may be to come, than the actual talent itself. Now, enough of that. Let's talk about where to use these. All right, so we have already seen the community taken by storm with the one-shot, 2 kills build with this. You take the normal broken headhunter determined build, you throw this on there, and then suddenly the way it's working is that damage is not really getting split in half, or I don't know if it's a bug or not. I do think it'll get patched in some fashion. I do think the devs are going to address it, because now your one-shot body shot build will now net you 2 kills. It'll kill some random person too. It's completely busted. I do not deal with those one-shot builds. It's not for me. I find them boring and lame and broken. Not for me. And I do think this is a case where it's actually broken. So we're not going to talk about that. It exists. It's out there. If you want to put it together while you still can, go for it. That, I think, is a broken use case of these knees. So outside of that, I don't think they're actually that good. for the type of content I play, like legendary and stuff, you don't want to drop your single target DPS by 50%. You want to have, like, the target priority is really important in legendary, so not being able to DPS down the target that you're aiming at, it's going to take, like, it's doubling your time to kill because you're doing half the damage, right? Like, there's a lot of times where I don't want to kill someone else. I want to kill the rusher that is rushing me and about to shoot me in the face, you know? Or there's a drone controller, there's a medic, you know? I don't need to be distributing half of that damage to some random red in cover somewhere. I don't care. I want to get the guy that's spawning in all of the explosives that are killing me and my team, you know? Target priority is really important. Now, maybe you don't notice this if you're running around in heroic and stuff, because you're just killing everyone easily anyway, but it's an important topic in legendary level play, and dropping your single target DPS by half, I don't know if it's right. If we're talking about it being neutral, it's not neutral anymore. It's a deterrent. I would rather not have these knee pads. Like, I would rather put them away, not have them, than, you know, have the advantage. Like, to me, it's not an advantage. I would rather DPS one target at a time than be splitting my damage with some other NPC that I don't care about, right? Now, the advantage here is kind of like negotiators in that you're going to be damaging someone that you can't see necessarily. Now, the thing is, you can't control the enemy that the damage is transferred to, and it seems to bounce around. It's not even like the closest enemy or something like that. It just deals it to a enemy within 30 meters. So, like, it's not that useful because you can't control it like negotiators. Is also, again, it's not adding damage the way negotiators is. It's just splitting your damage. So though it could be nice, I could see a use case where, like, oh hey, splitting damage to like that medic that's hiding in cover or that I can't see around the corner and is picking up the ads. That could be useful, but I think that's super niche and is not worth permanently having half your DPS for single target. So, yeah, still not that useful, not that good. Now, let's talk about double dipping. Now, if you haven't seen the video that Dispatch just dropped, shout out to him. He ran a bunch of numbers. Go check him out. I'll link that below or up here somewhere. He dives into all of the different talents and interactions with Turmoil, and long story short, there's a concept of double dipping. So we're talking about, like, damage targets out of cover, glass cannon, and spotter, okay? It's amplifying your damage to the target that you're shooting at, but then when it transfers that damage to the other target, that other 50%, it's reapplying glass cannon, for example, right? So you're double dipping, you're getting added value out of glass cannon, and now we're talking about, okay, there could be an advantage. We're now dealing more damage because of this double dipping effect of glass applying to the initial target and then applying again on the transfer. So that's very interesting and is now positioning Turmoil. If we have a combination, like, this is not a complete build, we're just gonna run with this, right? We got perfect glass, amplifying our damage by 30%, but then that's also amplifying the transfer damage by another 30% when it transfers. So now this combination of glass plus turmoil isn't positioned as a net neutral, and it could be advantageous. Are we willing to deal with doing half the single target DPS and getting overall net increase in DPS because of this double dipping effect with glass? Alright, y'all, there you have it. That was my discussion on the Turmoil. I think it has some potential on paper, but when it comes down to gameplay, especially the types of missions that I do, I don't see myself using the turmoil. I want that single target damage, and the double dipping synergy for me just isn't strong enough to sacrifice target priority. There you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Enjoy.